So what is jobs to be done? This is the simple visual, I mean, which tells the story very nicely. People don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole. So in a sense, like most of the time, we have a certain product to sell and we are just forcefully selling that product. But the customer is actually buying a benefit out of that product. So what is jobs to be done? Jobs to be done is nothing but what's the problem which the customer wants to solve. I mean, I'm using your product to solve a certain problem. So the whole focus has to be on what is the customer trying to solve. I mean, or I mean, what's the progress they want to achieve in a particular situation? Like say, I mean, I'm a diabetic patient, so I want to keep my blood sugar under control. That's the progress which I want. So how does your product or service enable me? That's the simplest definition of jobs to be done. So this whole idea of jobs to be done is slightly different from the conventional way of thinking, and I'm going to walk you through 6 fundamental foundations of jobs to be done through some examples also, and then we'll look at some healthcare examples of how we have done it. The first thing is one of the foundations of jobs to be done is the whole idea saying that people hire products and services to get job done. In the sense, like, the whole idea is not to buy a product. What is that product enabling me to do? Why am I hiring that product? Is what jobs to be done is actually based on. What is the benefit which the customer wants from the product? I mean, rather than selling a product, it's the benefit that we need to focus on. The second is the unit of analysis is what is the customer trying to get done. It's not, I mean, typically I've worked for a very long time in marketing consulting. The entire focus, I mean, there was actually on the product and or the service. But in jobs to be done, what is the focus is on what the customer is trying to get done. What is the job which the customer is trying to do? And once you map out that process very clearly, then you go back and modify the product or tweak the product to enable the job being done very easily or without any difficulty. The third thing is jobs. Once you identify certain jobs, they tend to be stable. It doesn't change. Over a short period of time, and I'm going to show you an example of it. Let's take something which we all like, which is music. This is how the music industry evolved. First, you had the LP. Then you had the cassette, then you had the CD, then you had the MP3 player, now you have the streaming market. If you observe, when the cassette came, it actually killed the LP market. When the CD came, it killed the cassette market, and now streaming is killing the MP3 player market. Now, this happened, and there were multiple companies who got disrupted, who got killed. But if you, for one moment, every company was focusing from their product perspective. But for one moment, if you were to look at it from a customer's perspective, all along, now all these years, if you look at it from a customer's perspective, the customer wanted to listen to music. That was the basic job. But the way in which the customer was listening to music changed over a period of time. So this is one of the fundamental theories of what you call tenets of job to be done, saying that look at everything from a customer's perspective. What is the customer trying to solve? So, and these needs tend to be very stable. Like the job of listening to music and enjoying the music, it's stable right from the very early days to the current day. Everyone wants to listen to music, but the technology in which the technology that we have used kept changing. So that is that point which I told in the previous slide, saying job needs tend to be stable over a period of time. So it's like a simple example which brought together all the first three points. The second set of thing is context, or the situation in which the job arises determines the kind of solution being hired. I mean, just to give you a very simple example here, like say, if you are going for a formal meeting, you will dress in a certain way. But if you go for a casual evening out or a dinner, you dress in a different way. So what I'm saying here is the context in which the product gets used hugely determines the kind of product or service that a customer will buy. The second is understand the metrics that jobs to be done focuses a lot on understanding the metrics that the customer is using to evaluate a product. Like what I was telling you is when customer buys a certain product, he has got certain parameters in mind. These are the parameters in which the product has to perform. And if it is performing on those parameters, it creates satisfaction and he will buy. So what I'm saying is, before even selling to a customer, we need to understand, for any particular product or service that you want to sell, we need to understand what are the metrics which a customer is going to use to evaluate that product or service. And customers seek out solutions that get the entire job done better, faster, and cheaper. I mean, it's like saying today, if you look at any ad platforms, like say for example, you take Facebook, where you can create a creative, you can buy a media, you can select the. So that whole idea saying, in a platform, people want to get all multiple jobs done in a single platform. So I'll show you a very simple example from a health perspective. Now, if you look at any healthcare product or service, the core objective is always to improve the health, the health outcomes. Now look at it from, look at what are the different stages through which the product or service has to go. You need to create health and disease awareness. Then you need, what you call, create awareness among healthcare professionals. You need to create symptom awareness. Then you have a whole ecosystem of hospitals and clinics. Then you need to have medicines which can be preventive or curative. You need to understand the treatment and the usage guidelines. Treatment coverage, insurance parties, healthcare professional and patient support systems. So there's a whole lot of activities. Now let's get into a little what you call practical application of this. Now let's take a hypothetical diabetes care product and the monitoring device. India is known to be the diabetes capital of the world. So let's look at it from a healthcare product, which I think, with IoT coming in, with small devices coming in and pairing it with a mobile phone, it's becoming a very, very big market. So let's look at what are all the activities, and we will look at it from one of the major points. Like Google is also getting into healthcare. Even specialist healthcare companies are also there in healthcare. So how do you compete with the Google? That's what we are going to see. So, but if you look at it from a diabetes care product, so there are multiple stages which a customer has to go through. Like, he has to be made aware of a trigger or a need. The screening has to happen, the diagnosis has to happen, the consulting has to happen. The product recommendation has to happen, product usage has to happen, usage and monitoring, tracking, usage feedback, corrective action, support ecosystem, disposal and upgrade. So there are multiple steps. So as I told earlier in my slide, customers want multiple jobs, or these are multiple jobs which to be done in a single platform. Now, and let's look at it from a diabetes product perspective. A big company, like say for example, a Sanofi or someone, will actually try and target all these activities because they have the resources. They want to wire up all these activities into a single platform. That is what a market leader who has established what you call distribution, who has got a large capital resource will try to do. Versus if you are a small player, what you should try to do is try and target any one activity which the customer which the customer deems to be very, very important, which the large player is not able to do it very correctly. So this is what the conclusion here is. So one of the points which I told earlier was, you need to have a platform which tries and brings the multiple job together. But if you're a small player also, you can survive in that market by targeting any particular node in the activity, which is very important to the customer. Like large firms, when large firms will try and consolidate, startups should try and decouple any of these activities which they can do very, very well, which the large player is not able to do it. And one of the things a startup can fight against the larger is pick up any one activity and do it extremely well. And by doing that, you create multiple advantages. One is, a guy who is a large player who is focusing on multiple activities will never be able to bring the kind of attention and detail into that activity. And the second is, if you do that activity very well, I think the large player will be looking out for a buyout because he wants to wire up the whole system. So this is one of the sub points which I wanted to deep dive into. Now, coming back to jobs to be done. So the jobs to be done can be applied to any business and any process. It's like a Six Sigma process. And I'm going to walk you through 6 steps, and then we'll see the case studies. The first step is we define the core job, what is the customer trying to do and its various dimensions. I'll show you a practical example. The second is, for a job, there will be multiple stakeholders, and healthcare is known for this. They can be a patient, they can be a doctor, they can be a support staff, they can be a administrator who's sanctioning the purchase, then they can be a AMC or a annual maintenance. So there are multiple stakeholders for every category. We need to understand who are the critical stakeholders and study them. The third point is there is a customer value chain. Whenever you acquire a product or service, there is an entire customer value chain, and we need to study each and every node in this customer value chain in great detail. And that is where the opportunity lies. When you look at it, when you only look at a product or a service, I mean, you probably don't find opportunities, and you'll say the market is very commoditized. But the moment you look at it from a customer value chain perspective and start studying each and every node under it, opportunity starts opening up. And I'll show you an example of a case study that we did. That's a third stage. The fourth stage is out when you study all these particular activities and what is the customer, what are the multiple steps which a customer has to do. Those need to be quantified. Those need to be surveyed in terms of what's the kind of difficulty which the customer is facing and what's the kind of opportunity that in the market it is presenting. And obviously, once you get this data, you need to identify what is the competition good at, where is the gap in the market, and I mean, push in your product and service. And obviously, after you do this, we will get this simple metrics where we know what are the high opportunity points or the nodes in the market where the competition is not delivering. Customer wants, but no one is actually offering that. And this is the what we call the product improvement or the service improvement metrics. So this is the 6 steps. Now, keeping this understanding, I'm just going to jump into some very practical health product case studies.